In this slide, we are discussing about standard input and output redirection in Unix operating system. Here, shell input, output, and redirection. Standard input is the device with the keyboard, generally we are called. Standard output, the device is screen, normally we are treated. But what is the redirection? A redirection is a feature in Unix such that when executing a command, you can change the standard input or standard output device. The basic workflow of any Linux command is that it takes an input and gives an output. The standard input, nothing but stdin, device is a keyboard, generally we are mentioned. The standard output generally or std out device is the output screen, or generally we are considered the output device. Here we are consider output redirection means the output from the command normally intended to standard output can be easily derived diverted to the file instead of the device. Standard input redirection, just as an output of command can be redirected to a file, so can the input of the command is redirected to a given file. In this slide, we are discuss about visualize version of standard input, standard output, and standard error. There are three types of the program or a command you are using in Unix. These files are always present whenever the program is run. That is nothing but if you go for running a program, it requires the input, then you want to go for insertion from the extracted from the corresponding standard input. That is generally considered in the file descriptor as 0, nothing but FD0, file descriptor 0. Then standard output is the one more file, that is after execution of anything else you need to go for display the information in the output that is possible to display on the monitor. It's called std out. Usually standard output consider std out that represent 1 for a file descriptor, nothing but fd1. And then last one is any errors are generated at time of running of the program, that is called standard error. Generally file descriptor for standard error is 2, that is called fd2. Standard error is called stderr. Generally we are called or we are mentioned like that in the Unix or Linux programming concept. In this slide, we are discussing about standard input and standard output. Standard input, nothing but file descriptor 0, that is standard in. The default place where a process reads its input, nothing but usually terminal, the keyboard we are considered, it's called standard input. Where enter anything else, let's consider the command and enter into the standard input. Second one, standard output, nothing but fd1, that is std out, they generally were considered the default place where the process writes its output, nothing but wherever you want to go for display the information that is usually seen or observed or visualized by the external users. For that you are using display unit, that's called terminal display. Whatever output is there, that should be displayed on standard output. The third one is standard error, nothing but fd2, file descriptor 2, nothing but std error is a standard file name. The default place where the process can send its error message, typically the terminal display what type of error generated at time of running of the program. Then we move towards rewriting standard input from a file with the help of less than symbol, the standard symbol we are using to insert whatever extracted corresponding input information into a file. Nothing but first the key what you are entered, that's the command that's stored in standard input. Then from the file you want to go for transfer the content to a command is called redirected input. First one is from the keyboard you want to type, that's a command, go to store, and it's going to file, and then it go to the redirect into the command line. Nothing but cat less than 5 that passes a command that possible to go for display the content of the specified file. Here we have discussed redirecting standard output to a file with single greater than sign or two greater than symbols. First you want to type a command that possible to go for stored in terminal, it's called standard output. One more command you type and store it in a file is called redirected output. Whatever thing you type, the output that displays on the screen is called standard output. You want to store the same thing into the file is called redirected output. For example, ls minus al greater than mylist, nothing but creates or overrides the existing file mylist. ls minus al 2 greater than symbol, then write the file name, appends or creates a file, nothing but first one creates or overrides, second one is appending whatever content is that should be forwarded by the new one, it's called appending or creates a file. This is the redirection standard output using the file with a single greater than or two greater than symbols. Here we are redirecting standard output to a command with the pipe symbol. Nothing but pipe supposed to go for using combining two commands to perform. Both the commands should be executed one after the another simultaneously. The command first you are type and executed, that should display on the output. Then command you are typing it redirected to the output device. Nothing but ls minus al slash more passes the output to a corresponding command. You want to go for transfer, first you want to execute it, the display the things, then come into password command and send to the output as one of the command file, the programming concept. Here one more example for redirecting standard in and standard out files are the commands. The command line you write dot slash a dot out greater than temp. That meaning is that write the output to temp rather than the given terminal. One more example, dot slash a dot out less than foo reads foo not the terminal. You want to go for extract the content from the corresponding file, you want to go for displaying it. This is the information. When processing in a file, in a pipeline, useful to redirect the standard out of a file n to standard in of n plus 1 scenario. When you are go for using this type of example to perform the operations, then you are go for using file descriptors fd1, fd0 for input, fd1 for output and provide error, fd2 for standard errors. Here Unix allocates file descriptors to always choose the lowest available. If choose standard in and open a new file, for example close 0, fd open foo indicate that fd is 0, nothing but file descriptor is 0. And all subsequent reads from the standard in will read the instead from the file foo, nothing but foo. This is simple example how the redirection operation is taken place when you go for using standard in, nothing but std in.